All right, music fans, welcome. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for real people just like you, just like me. All right, before I get going on this video, which is going to be about this band and something that just happened to this band or a former member of this band, this is Helix. The album is Eat, Sleep, and Rock, courtesy of my friends over at Paris Records. And I'll be talking about them a little bit more in the upcoming days. The record label, that is. Basic, really just straightforward rock and roll. A band from Canada that, has been around for quite some time. They did have a bit of chart success here in the States during the 80s, mostly on rock stations, because they're a real rock band, old school rock band from Canada. And we just found out, or at least I did, I don't know about the we part, but the rock media not really reporting on this. So I figured I would put it out there on the band's website. That's Helix the band. So still in shock concerning the murder of former Helix guitar player Dan Fawcett. Dan played for us around the year 2000. He was such a sweet guy who wouldn't hurt a fly. Such a shame to die as he did. Presently, I know about as much as anyone else as far as people listening to the news. Now, this is probably Brian Vollmer talking here. Brian is the guy who runs the band, and I actually interviewed Brian at one point for my channel, and it was one of the worst interviews I've ever done because this band has a really long history and lots of personnel changes and just lots of music, and they've gone through a lot of different phases during their career, and I just didn't have the product knowledge, so I wasn't looking too smart on the interview. But in any event, Brian, who is a pretty sharp guy, is probably the one writing the post here. He says, I've been talking to friends back home on the phone, and they know about as much as I do. I believe Brian comes down to Florida, and he's not too far from me from what I remember. He's one of those snowbirds from Canada, so good for him. He goes on to say, everyone has theories, but that's all they are, so I'm not going to get into gossip. And then he posted some photos where he was able to find pictures of the late guitar player Dan Fawcett. So again, Canada, an interesting place. Didn't they just outlaw firearms in Canada? Like you can't own a gun in Canada. So if you're walking in London, North London, Ontario Park, and somebody attacks you, I don't know what the circumstances are here, but it obviously doesn't look very good. Again, Dan Fawcett, who was a guitarist for the band Helix, found dead in North London, Ontario. Really sad. So I'll follow this and see where it goes and see if anybody knows any more information about this. The American rock media is not going to report on this. This just isn't a big deal for them. And check out Helix if you have a chance. If you don't like this, and I thought this was pretty good, by the way, it is very bare bones and very authentic, which I tend to enjoy. Every so often you turn off all the high gloss production and you put something on that's just in your face, and it makes you feel pretty good. So that's where I'm at on Helix. And if you really want to do a deep dive, go back to the 1980s and look up some of their stuff. If you like harder oriented music, these guys, I think, were a true heavy metal / hard rock band who had a very unique style and a very unique sound. And, as I always say, our thoughts and prayers go out to the Fawcett family. And I don't know too much about Dan Fawcett, but he's a human being, and it's really stupid that this stuff has to happen. Hopefully, I mean, you could say hopefully it's not foul play or it's just some kind of random accident, but it doesn't make it any better. So, all right, that's the video on the topic, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. Patreon, I'm always in the need of patrons. If you can do $1 a month, $2 a month, we've got some great patrons over there, some really smart, dedicated people who love music, and it's a pretty wide variety of musical taste over there, which I think is good. And you can join that, community for $1 a month if you want to do a little bit more. That's very much welcome, as our regular Google AdSense revenue plummets down to almost nothing. So it's just literally cut in half within 30 days. I don't really get it, but we'll see what happens, people. All right, I'm done. Thanks for watching, and I will see you soon.